going on, everybody? It's your boy Pitts Sports Zone, Bowie TV, coming to you live. Listen, it's going down all things HBCUs. And who else better to start it off with them Bowie State Bulldogs? We coming to you, Bowie State Bulldogs, total access. We got the Morgan State Bears. Listen, all HBCUs information, all HBCU news, sporting events, updates. You get it live here with Pitt Sports Zone, Bowie TV, Comcast Channel 77, Verizon Channel 11 is going down. Don't you miss a beat. Listen, it's only the beginning because it's early still.
And it's
we're gonna be here all day.
All day.
Yo, what's going on? Y'all know what it is. It's your boy Pitts. Pitts on Push Sports Talk Radio, Pitt Sports Zone, Bowie TV. Coming to you live tonight. Hey, listen, y'all know we got my guy, my day one from the beginning when we started. Coach Kyle Jackson, Bowie State University, head football coach. How you doing, bro?
What's up, my guy, man? Appreciate you for having me, man. I'm glad we was able to make it work and get on and spend some time with you.
Man, listen, always and forever. So look, I know you in transit. I know you guys got an away game, right? So I'm not gonna hold you too long. I know you gotta get your rest too. Put you on the curfew, but if you can just talk a little bit about the team makeup this year. Going from spring camp to fall, and through the first two games. What you have seen from your team so far.
Oh man, it's been a process, man. It's going into year 4. You're talking about some guys who've been along for the ride throughout this time, man. And I always talk about the growth, and when I speak to the guys, just talk about the maturity, and things like that. Seeing that in the guys, man. You're seeing the transition to the field. However, you talk about man, we brought in a class about 25, 26 freshmen. Also with a good amount of transfers as well. So, we have a lot of the same guys, but we have a lot of new guys as well. So these first 2 weeks, man, just been trying to, find that chemistry, putting the best guys on the field together. And it's a process. It's the early parts of it, just still trying to figure out who's who and who do what well. And just putting the right product on the field, man. But it's been lessons from both games. You talk about going up and playing a PSAC school, which is a strong conference, and being able to get a good non-conference win. Then going to Delaware State, and competing with an FCS program. There were some mistakes that were made. However, like I say, in all losses, there are lessons that come with it. So this week was one of those things where we tried to focus on the little things, getting the guys to do the small things right. And it was a better week of practice. Now we just got to put it all together and go compete tomorrow.
Yeah, and shout out to 6. Hassan, what up, bro? Hassan says, Coach K. Jack, a man of leadership, opportunities, wisdom, etc. Much love.
Yeah, that's my guy, man.
So when you talk about, bringing on 25, 26 freshmen and transfers, and you're mixing them, you're blending them with the culture of the team that was already established last year. Can you kind of talk about that? How do you foster a positive team culture, and what values are most important to you and the team and your vision for your team going forward?
Well, as a head coach, man, my platform is culture. All right, like I think in all team aspects, you got to have a strong culture in order for you to be successful. So we try to preach those things to those guys, and like you said, it's an acronym. It's an acronym that we utilize for the guys to try to foster that type of environment. Like I say, we brought in some older guys at some positions that we felt that we needed some experience, but we also brought in some younger guys at some positions that we knew that we needed some youth to challenge and push, that room. So just like I say, just finding the right mix, man. Like I say, within the different rooms to help us grow. Like I say, we're looking to enhance those rooms. We're looking to enhance those rooms to help us just be more productive, man. Like I said, we lost some production with some guys leaving last year, so added some guys to the mix, to kind of help that, But you got to find, in football, the ultimate team sport, man. You're just trying to mix all these personalities together to get that perfect, that perfect final product, and
Yeah.
go be successful with it. So we're doing different things. We did a lot of different team activities throughout the summertime. One, that stood out the most, man. We went and did an activity at a Marine base, and it was really about that whole deal was about leadership, so giving all guys a different opportunity to lead at different times, and that was eye opening for us as a program, and it was something that we was able to grow from. So just trying to challenge our guys to be leaders when it's their time to lead, but also understanding the best leaders are also were once great followers. So
Yeah.
figuring out the roles and going with the punches from there.
Not only that, when you talk about taking them to a military base and you talk about, developing and understanding the true definition of leadership, you also throw in the discipline, the hard work, and the teamwork, right? Because the military can't function on one person alone. It
A hundred
takes it
percent.
takes all of them to want, to work together to build that continuity amongst themselves, even, on the fields of battle. So definitely, and that kind of leads me into, you, for those who may not know you or may not know who Coach Kyle Jackson is like I do, right? Me knowing intimately, being around you for the last 5 years, can you share with those, like just share a little bit about your coaching philosophy, right? Some of the things of how your coaching philosophy and how it shapes the team and the play style that you want.
My coaching philosophy, like I say, we talk about culture. So you talk about commitment, understanding, leadership, trust, unity, respect, and effort. I feel like those seven things foster a great environment for a winning program or just a winning environment. So
Yeah,
with those seven things, I feel like we can be unbeatable. We are unbeatable in anything that we do, as long as we work on those seven things. However, like a lot of guys that hear me talk about it, man, I'm a big opportunity guy. It's a difference between talking about it, getting the opportunity, and then actually
uh,
taking advantage of the opportunity that's given to you as well. So, you sit around, on the different social medias and things like that. You hear guys talking about, hey, all I need is an opportunity, coach. All I need is an opportunity. Well, now that you got it, what are you doing with it?
yeah,
So that's my mindset. All my guys know that, man. It's like, hey, I'm giving you an opportunity. I'm giving you the platform to do it. Now take advantage of it and be the best version of it. So, like I say, culture. Like I said, that's one of the things that we drive. And, it's really when it comes to culture, you have to drive that every day. It's the little
right.
things that you had to make sure that you're addressing when they're not right. It's something that you got to work at every day if you want it to be strong. So, like I say, that's my biggest thing: building a team culture, a winning team culture, and it starts with making sure that the little things are done right.
When you talk about, the team right now, they're 1-1. They played an opponent last week. Had a friendly, familiar face on the other side, and Coach Naima Washington. How can you just share your experience of what those moments are like to be able to coach against either people that you play with or that's coached with you?
Oh man, that was a great experience, man. Like I say, man, Nemo Washington, man, I'm super proud of him. Like I say, Nemo was a few years after me at Bowie State. However, seeing him grow in his coaching career, man, and then getting the opportunity to be on the same field with him, just on opposite sides, man, it was a great feeling. Never great, not coming out on the right side of it, but seeing the
Yeah,
growth in that, man, it's like I say, it's at the end of the day, the football game. When it's football time, it's football time. We take care of business, but before the game, after the game, man, it was nothing but love. So it was a great experience, man. You talk about that Bowie State coaching tree, man, that started some time ago, man, and just watching it blossom. We all in different places doing great things, man. So just being able to share that moment, man, that was monumental.
how did it feel for you as the head coach of Bowie State when the top 50 players came out, the watch list for top 50, and you seen Micah Robinson's name on that list?
Oh man, I probably smiled a little harder than I usually do, just because a lot of people know Michael Robinson for what he did last year, but a lot of people don't know Michael Robinson's story. Michael
Yeah,
Robinson was a walk-on at Bowie State University, who honestly didn't even receive an invite to camp his first year, and all Michael asked for was an opportunity, and when he got the opportunity, he ran with it. And now you talk about him being one of the best backs in the country, being being one of the best backs in the conference.
Yeah.
So you talk about the hard work that he's put in. And he's a great young man at the end of the day. Like he smile, he's excited about where he is. He just take advantage of the moment, and it shows. Like I say, he's a good football player, but an even better person.
Sounds like the definition that you seek upon the players that join your program when you talk about the acronym of culture.
Absolutely,
Very selfless.
absolutely. Mike is a true definition. That's why he's one of our captains for this 25-26 year.
Coach, before we look ahead to Livingstone, we look back at last week's matchup against Delaware State. What are some of the positive takeaways that you saw from your team, even in the face of defeat?
We kept fighting, man. That's all you ask for, perseverance. We faced some adversity earlier on, but the guys never went down on themselves. They kept fighting, and that's all that you really want. At the end of the day, good things are going to happen. Bad things are going to happen. It's the game of football. It's really about how you respond to things, and to see those guys rally around each other and keep fighting, that's all you can ask for. You can build upon that. Now, like you say, some negative things did happen, or with some things, but you coach through those moments. So, like I say, man, it's never really about the loss; it's about the lessons that come from it, and if you can grow from it. So, it was definitely a lot of things that came from that game.
Right, and you definitely touched on the points. And the question not necessarily was focusing on negative, but more so the response that you gave was, talk about the positives that you saw from your team, even in defeat. What are those things? Because I think a lot of times, a lot of people get caught up on, which are important as well. Don't get me wrong. The things that didn't go well, right? And a lot of times in defeat, all you hear about is what didn't go well, what we didn't do right, how many missed tackles we had, how many yards we gave up on the ground. But I also feel like even in defeat, there's some growth moments, right?
Absolutely.
There are some takeaways that you can pull away and say, even though we did not do well as a team as a whole, we did exceed my expectations here, which are still things that you could build upon because the season's early.
100%, man. 100%. Like I say, I'm very optimistic when it comes to things. Just because it's always, everybody has a different perspective on how they view things. So looking at things from a different standpoint, man, seeing the bigger picture, it was like I said, it was some things that we took a step in the right direction. Now we got to build upon it, man. So, like I said, I'm excited, man. Kicking off conference play this weekend. Going and having two tough out of conference. Competition competitors, is one of those things where I'm excited going into conference play. Like I said, this is another step towards us, taking the right steps towards what we're going to look like, once it becomes mid-season.
Absolutely. And talking about going into playing the CIAA this week, you guys travel to Livingstone.
Um,
My bad, man. My apologies.
was that
Yeah,
you or was that me?
no, that was me. For some reason, it froze up and kicked me out.
Oh man,
I know it say dogs on deck, but they don't got to kick me the host out.
okay.
So now, but I was talking about, or I was starting to talk about, something that you alluded to as well. Talk about how those outer conference games, help you gauge the temperature of your team because you're talking about Dell State, a team that is at FCS. Talk about those opportunities and what does it do for your team's morale and the camaraderie that they see and test themselves amongst as well.
Oh man, like I said, we always, from a history of time that I was a player at Bowie State to start coaching, man, we always want to play some good out of conference, competition, because it gives us the opportunity to see what we are as a program. And like I say, for our guys, like I said, it gives them it's a morale as well. Like I said, we have the ability. We talk about HBCU football. It's not about HBCU football. It's about playing good Division II football or just playing good football alone. And like being able to show that we can compete on a
Yeah.
national level. Man, that's what it's about. That's what it's about. And being able to the guys to see like, hey, we can really do this. So it's one of those things like you say, you take the small wins, the small victories, and you grow from them. Give yourself an opportunity, give those guys an opportunity to see like, hey, we can really do this. But you got to make sure we take care of the small things, because when you get into games with good teams that are similar or even sometimes better, it's about the team that don't make those small mistakes and take advantage of the opportunities when they present themselves.
Absolutely. I want to pause for a moment, right? And I just want you to highlight some of the players, like Micah, who was on the 50 watch, because I'm sure there are a lot more players. I mean, of course, worthy. I'm sure you can't name them all, but like I see Sam Graham 2 weeks in a row, Defensive Player of the Week. What are some other players, some other standout players that we should be on alert for?
And so we have a few guys that definitely should be on alert for. You talk about from a standpoint that we have Micah Robinson, but you got a guy behind him who's playing his role in Max Jones, who is a very physical runner and just a competitor, man. So you talk about two guys out of the backfield getting it done. Then you talk about the quarterback right now. We got Kevin Taylor and Malachi Anthony both are competing for that actual number one spot, but it's a very competitive room with both of those guys are doing. Then from a receiver standpoint, you talk about a Joseph Tyler and Antoine Banks. Those guys have been consistent for us within last year and coming into this year. Um, Offensive line wise, leading the way, Cameron Ross, who was a redshirt freshman, man. But you talk about the leadership, what you want from a young guy. He's displaying all of that, and he's leading the way for those guys. So offensively, man, you talk about those guys are some guys that stand out. Defensively, like I said, we had a few returners. It's probably what more of my older guys are. You talk about a Sam Graham, like you said, he won a defensive back of the week 2 times already in 2 weeks. So excited about where he is and where he continue to go. You talk about a Jordan Williams, who was a preseason all conference guy. He's on the back end controlling things. And then up front, Jamal Jones is a guy who's older guy in that group, and he's been getting after it. They start these two games off, so man, I'm excited for that group, man. Like I said, the secondary, man, we got four guys back there, four seniors who's holding it together. So looking to see them and looking to see how they grow throughout the rest of the year. But I'm excited about the whole team, man. I think we got a strong roster, just making sure we gel together when the time comes.
And lastly, I want to ask, tomorrow's game time, 4 o'clock. What's your message to your team tomorrow before they take the field after warmups? Coach
I'm
K,
sorry, say it again.
no, I said, and lastly, you guys tomorrow 4 o'clock is game time. What's your team? What's the message to your team tomorrow before you take the field?
My message is, man, just go play our brand of football. All right, like you say, Bowie State. Get on the Wi-Fi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, you good. Yeah, I can hear you. Having some see, it wasn't just my phone. It was Coach KJ's phone too, who was having technical difficulties. But man, think we getting his audio back. We can hear you, Coach. Coach, can you hear me? So yeah, so
can you hear me now?
yeah, you're good. Yep, you're good.
Okay, all right. I transitioned inside.
Bowie State tomorrow play Livingstone College, 4 o'clock away game. Listen, bite down. You already know. You already know the Bowie State slogan. A. Don't need to say no more. But this year's Bulldogs definitely are out for blood. You know, we see the preseason rankings. You know, for some reason, every year Bowie doesn't get the love and the respect, the visibility that I feel. And I may be a little biased. I may have some biasness towards that and that on my behalf when it comes to Bowie. But at the end of the day, I think that Bowie has shown, regardless the turnover, as you heard Coach say, they had 25, I believe, 25, 26 freshmen that signed on this year, plus some transfers, whether you go out the transfer pool, that also joined the team. That, when you just look at the makeup and just think of all of the moving pieces and the pieces that they lost last year, and, two non-conference games that they started out with, both games, they definitely fought hard. Didn't win against Dale State, but definitely got that 1-1 uh, record right now going into Livingstone College. It's definitely looking up, and I'm sure the Bulldogs is looking to put their stamp on the CIAA, put the CIAA on notice tomorrow when they go up against Livingstone College. So definitely looking forward to a victory tomorrow on the behalf of the Bowie State Bulldogs. Coach Kyle Jackson, as I can see right now, as I said, they're away, so he was having some technical difficulties. But we were actually finished. He already killed the interview. So I think that was Livingstone trying to, they was doing some jamming frequencies. That's how they are when it comes to Bowie State. They like to jam the frequencies, but they don't understand that we only ain't got to have the frequencies to connect. We still going to be victorious. So, again, shout out to them Bowie State Bulldogs, man. Good luck on tomorrow against Livingstone College. 4 p.m. is going down if you're in the area. Away game. If not, go ahead and check it out online. But you already know what it is. I'm your boy Pitts. Pitts and Push Sports Talk Radio, Pitts Sports Zone, Bowie TV, coming to you live tonight. Coach Kyle Jackson, Bowie State Bulldogs. Y'all know what it is. And y'all know the slogan. Go ahead and say it with me. Hey, Bowie. Y'all have a good night.